Hi, everybody. Let's talk for a minute about the ability to receive. Because I have this story that I want to tell you. I wanted to talk to you about money, but I realized that there's a pre-story I have to tell you. So we're going to do this in two parts. We'll talk about money in the next video, but first I have to tell you this pre-story so that the next one makes sense. So this is about your ability to receive, and more than that, it's about the vulnerability of receiving. So I've talked before about one of the, maybe the biggest, I'm going to say the biggest type of vulnerability for me. I can cry in front of you. I can tell you the personal stories. I can do all that stuff. Asking for help, for me, receiving, especially support, is my biggest vulnerability. And there was a point when I was first dating my boyfriend. We were distance. We lived in different states. And I was having a rough day one day. The time difference was a challenge because I couldn't just call him in the moments when I really needed him. I needed support. And I sat down in my living room, and I remember so vividly. And I sat down to meditate, to take care of myself, to handle the shit that was going on, whatever it was, and in the way that I knew how. And I had a conversation with his higher self and my higher self. And they told me something that rocked me to my core. They said, this man will always, I don't use that word very often, always, this is what they said, that man, this man, will always give you everything you need. You have my attention, right? This is a pretty big promise. This doesn't usually happen like that. But not always in the timing that you want it. And it took me a minute to even receive a gift that big, to get this information, to sit in the space of, can I even digest, can I even receive and digest how big that promise is? And then they showed me that the difficulty for me is that there's this peeling open, this opening of my heart, this immense vulnerability for me when I ask for something that I need, or even when I just need it. Maybe I don't even ask for it, even just to need it, is this wide, open-hearted vulnerability. And they showed me that what I'm going to have to learn how to do, and I'm getting there, is be in that open place and wait. Peeled open. Can you feel like how friggin' triggering this was for me? Peel yourself open, ask for what you need, and then just hang out there. Hang out in that immense vulnerability, in that deep, deep, for me, fear, what if no one comes? Because my old pattern had been, maybe peel myself open and ask for what I need, and then if it's rejected, or the other person can't give it to me, or they won't, or they don't know how, or they are offended by my ask, or whatever it is, shut that down. Shut it down so fast, I will never ask you again. That was my protection mechanism. So they were asking me to lay down my sword, to be defenseless, to be without my defense mechanism, without my protection, to stand. Can you visualize like what this felt like in my system? You might be a little similar to me, so you might be able to recognize the immense vulnerability, but it's more than that. It's standing in this level of courageous bravery, like being naked in a firefight. This is standing in the level of complete openness and vulnerability and just waiting there. So that for me was an incredible lesson. It was incredibly telling. And it made me realize that there have been so many relationships in my life and so many instances with partners, friends, family, the universe, strangers, where I just didn't receive. I didn't know how, I wasn't willing. I knew that about myself. The piece I didn't realize is that I wasn't waiting long enough. I wasn't giving people time to step in, to be ready. And the truth is, not everybody all the time can bring us or give us what we actually want and need. Not everybody all the time has that capacity in that moment. Sometimes they come around later. Sometimes they get back to us when they have a minute. So my encouragement for all of us is to see where we can find the vulnerability of needing, desiring, wanting, that place of receiving, and can we practice to be brave enough to be in the vulnerability of it. And then there's another step in that, right? Because in this one particular relationship, here I was getting the promise, he's always going to show up. You might have to wait a while. You might have to wait a long while, but he's always going to do it. So I had this little bit of a guarantee, right? I don't have that in any other relationship in my life. So can we be brave enough to stand in the place of openness, needing, and be okay, not only with the other person not showing up in that moment and showing up in their own time frame, but be okay with the fact that they might not be able to, without making them wrong, without blaming them, without shutting it down and never again allowing them into our hearts. Can we just say, I'm doing this for me. I'm in the practice of receiving. Sometimes it comes in, maybe sometimes it doesn't. But I'll tell you what, it's never coming in when we're closed. Can't. If the drawbridge is shut, nothing's getting in. But if I practice opening the drawbridge over and over and over and over and over again, then a pretty good percentage of the time, what I'm wanting and needing is going to flow in. And that is bravery. All right. I'd love to hear how this goes for you. So let me know. Thank you for playing with me. Have a beautiful day.